The typical play for writing romance in a battle manga is to choose a guy and a girl, have at least one of the characters be in love, drop a couple of romantic scenes throughout the story, then have them tie the knot at the end or after the time skip. Yu Yu Hakusho, Kenshin, Naruto, Bleach, Fairy Tail, Demon Slayer, and JJK did this. MHA initially fumbled but then recovered with the extra chapter, and Black Clover hasn't ended yet. DanDaDan, which I'll call D3, took a more ambitious path. It went for the will they won't they. While I appreciate the effort, I don't think it's being well written, at least in season 1. TV Tropes defines this as a term used to describe any relationship that is obviously filled with unresolved sexual tension, but the characters resist going into a full-blown relationship for a rather long time. Technically, the other battle manga do it, but they don't put that much effort in. I will use other stories to show good techniques for delaying the relationship and then compare it to D3. Spoilers for When Harry Met Sally, You've Got Mail, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I don't have anime examples because I haven't seen an anime pull this off well. The first technique is lack of love. This can be from both parties or from one side. In Harry Met Sally, the two leads don't like each other at all at the start of the movie. It's only during the second act that they actually stop hating each other and become friends. In You've Got Mail, it's a little complicated. The two leads are business rivals in real life, but they're also anonymous mailing friends that fall in love. Once the male lead learns about the female lead's true identity, this creates conflict because he's in love with his business rival, who hates his guts because he's putting her out of business. His decision to delay revealing this information to her is a logical way to extend the plot. In B99, although they're friendly rivals, the male lead isn't aware that he's in love with the female lead, and she's not in love with him at all. Once the characters are in love, the next strong stalling technique is bad timing. One of the characters is in a serious relationship. This prevents the single one from being with them, and could naturally lead to them giving up and finding their own partner. That's a logical decision. In Harry, the male lead is the first to ask out the female lead, but she already had a date scheduled. She got in her own relationship, so he got his own as well. Once those relationships naturally end, the two leads become single and can get together. Male had the two leads in their own relationships too. It added a little to the stalling because the leads were flirting online while being in real relationships, so they questioned if they should continue. In B99, the male lead realizes his love for the female too late because she's already in a relationship. He gets in his own, but both eventually fall apart. And the last one is conflicting beliefs. The characters have core beliefs that prevent them from being compatible, even if they like each other. This can be overcome by both of them having arcs and settling their differences. In Harry Met Sally, the two leads actually sleep together around the middle, but the male lead thinks too little of it and chalks it up as a mistake, while the female lead thinks too much of it and gets offended by his nonchalant attitude. Once the two reconcile their differences, they can get together. That brings us to D3. The two leads had great chemistry, but the problem is that they started catching feelings too early and the author didn't want to seal the deal yet. Were these good tactics I named to stall the romance used? No. After they beat Turbo Granny, the romance starts to fall apart. They both like each other more than friends, but because Momo's friends caught them accidentally kissing, they get embarrassed and insult each other, pretending like they aren't friends. This is so childish and inconsistent with their characters. It's not like they established that the characters had too much pride, and this was a flaw that needed to be discarded. It just popped up out of nowhere from an accidental kiss no less. That's the first loss. Then, Okarun is training in secret, and Aira bothers him. She ends up on top of him, and Momo just happens to see them. Okarun tries to explain, but Momo won't listen. This misunderstanding is stretched out through the entire arc. I said it in my Toradora videos, but I despise anime romance misunderstandings because they're often written horribly. A simple explanation would resolve the conflict, but Momo decides to act like a brat to pad out the conflict. Finally, there's Gigi. When Okarun learns how close Momo and Gigi are, he starts to feel jealous and shy about his romantic feelings, padding out the romance even more. Momo and Okarun are tight. They hang out all the time, they've kissed, they've seen each other naked, and they've fought for their lives together. He should easily be able to ask her if she's interested in Gigi, or just ask her out before Gigi does. Furthermore, the fact that she got jealous of Aira should be a clear hint that the feelings are mutual, but then they get together too quickly. If the story has to keep forcing these characters to make dumb decisions and hide behind the excuse of they're kids in order to extend the will they won't they, then the romance just isn't good. In conclusion, I don't think D3's romance is good because it doesn't use any of the good techniques for extending a will they won't they, and it relies on misunderstandings and bad decisions. I would rather the story just do the typical play, rather than mess up a more detailed play. The chemistry is great, but the stalling is horrendous.